Hey everyone, what's up? Welcome back to the Conflict of Nick channel. I'm your host Nick, and today we're going to be delving right into the second part of the World War Nick series. After the first round, which went by very fast, and our victory against South America, we are now preparing for the inevitable war against South Africa, which will be the next team we fight. As you can see here, I am setting the stage and I will explain to you what my plan for this war is. So, my plan overall, because I love planning naval skirmishes and that is my specialty, I decided, with also the input of my team, to divide our navy into battle groups. Now, as you can see, I have a bunch of naval patrol aircrafts. I have a bunch of them along with our fleets, and I have a lot of AWACS as well. The AWACS are max level, the MPAs are max level. Basically everything we have is max level at this point in the game. So we have, from myself, cruisers, we have Ranger 1, the officer, we have the MPAs, we have the AWACS. We have destroyers and frigates from Mexico, all max level. And we have Canadian submarines with a very high level officer, and Colombian submarines with a very high officer as well. He has about 20, I think, and Canada has about 15 to 20 here. And even Venezuela has, I think, 2 to 3 stacks of cruisers and a high level officer. We all have an officer basically. And as you guys can also see, we have an FOB, or a forward operating base, placed in the tip of Brazil there. We have a bunch of armor stacks, AA, artillery, a lot of jets that are short range. We have a lot of stuff being deployed from there, and that's where all of our MPAs and AWACS are going to be coming from, and that is going to be one of the most important things. And it is going to offer us limited range, but that is where we think the safest place for our FOB was, and that was Canada's idea, Holst. And so today we are dividing our navy into battle groups because I want to have coverage over the Atlantic. I want to have each battle group be able to be very versatile and flexible, meaning I have a variety of equipment in each battle group. For example, each battle group has cruisers, an officer, each one has frigates and destroyers for ASW capabilities, each battle group has submarines, MPAs for radar and coverage for sonar, and an AWACS nearby. We have the red group, I believe, which was the northern group you can see there, and you can also see the transport ships, which are Canadian transports, which have marines and amphibious assault vehicles. Our plan is to land in the north region of Angola and set up an airfield there so our helicopters and aircraft and other ground units can be ferried from that FOB straight to Angola, and we can end the war right then and there as we move south to the South African capital city, which we need to take to win. The southern battle group, purple group, has cruisers, submarines, frigates, and destroyers, as well as NPAs and an AWACS. It has the sub-officer of Colombia, Don Pablo. The middle group, blue group, has a smaller group, and I will tell you why. So the northern group is meant to move towards Angola from the north, and the purple group is meant to move from the south. The blue group is still having reinforcements arrive, and also it is not as strong. So we decided to have that as the group that supports one of the two groups depending on where more support is needed. So they are the flexibility group, they are the reserve. They have a few subs, including the Canadian officer stack of submarines, MPAs and AWACS, obviously, some destroyers and frigates on the way. So those are going to be our battle groups for today, and that is what our plan is. Our navy is very strong, and I'm very confident in our capabilities because our navy is very versatile in that it has every aspect a navy could need: ASW, anti-aircraft, anti-ship, eyes in the sky, everything. So why don't we jump right into the battle? So as we can see here, our battle groups are moving forward, and we are picking up contacts right away from our MPAs and AWACS. My suspicion is that these could be subs, but they are confirmed to be surface vessels. They could be cruisers, and I suspect they are, because Angola and a lot of the other countries had level 4 bases. Now this means that they potentially have either scouting ships or they are very heavy stacks. And so I'm debating on whether to launch some missiles here for my MPAs, and I go ahead and decide to, I think, in a second. I think I refrained here for a minute because I don't know if I want to waste one, but there we go, one's away. Now that is going to be a test missile to see what's there. They also have a little group in Kingston because that was their place they were able to go. And we are going to subdue that very quickly. And our first missile has hit. It has taken some damage. And did you see how much damage it took? It took 5 damage, and that is the same amount of damage that a 5 stack of max level cruisers does to a missile. It can do 5 at the max. And since that missile intercepted at 10 HP, it means that those must be cruisers because they had an attack anti-aircraft, which means that they can't be destroyers. So that means they have to be cruisers because the missile hit. So I'm going to launch a bunch and go ahead and deal a lot of damage to that task force. MPAs, the good thing about them at max level is that they can each fire 2 cruise missiles per plane, which means a 5 stack can fire 10. So these are very versatile planes as they can attack from range. And cruise missiles, as you're going to see in these battles, even in the next round, are going to be a key part in winning naval battles. We have a bunch of missiles hitting here. Boom. Boom. Just doing so much damage each time without even having to get close to them. We checked the news, and I think we killed about 4 there in the news as it turned into a single cruiser. I'm going to launch more cruise missiles because this is another 5 stack of cruisers, I suspect. Because I also had launched a test missile at that one as well, because I always launch a test missile, and what I'm doing with that missile in front is I was basically triggering the anti-aircraft so all the other missiles hit at full HP. So now all these missiles are going to do their full damage. And I started out with a lot of warheads because I built up so many conventional warheads before this round, so I have so many to spare. Our southern battle group is moving into this contact, all in formation. Cruisers leading, subs in the middle, frigates in the middle as well. More missiles being launched as well against these cruisers, potentially. Probably cruisers at this point, all we're going to encounter in this forward place. And the bad thing about what they're doing right now is that they're isolating these 5 stacks and leaving them by themselves. And cruisers are very weak by themselves, especially in a situation like this. They can't even defend themselves against missiles. And that makes them very vulnerable. They should at least have frigates or subs as well, because if they're just alone, they also won't be able to stand up against, our entire battle groups, which is why we're moving in battle groups as well, to prevent that from happening to us. And as you can see also, we have our main ship moving in first, our main fleet, and we have the subs behind and the Venezuelan Navy behind as well, and the Canadian transports are behind them too. Canadian transports are going to be what we want to defend most of all. And we can see how many cruisers Angola's lost. Probably about 10 or 15 there. It's just insane how well missiles work, and that's one task force gone. And Venezuela is also staying back, by the way, to stay in touch with those Canadian transports so that they do not get isolated and potentially be susceptible to MPA attacks or any other attacks such as submarines or sneaky jets. The AWACS is also covering there just at the edge of its circle of range from the FOB. And that's going to be a slight problem because our AWACS are very important, so we'll be relying on our MPAs because AWACS can detect everything besides soft targets, which means infantry and sonar of course, but MPAs can't detect aircraft or ground or anything, so the AWACS are now behind the main battle. And so that's one key thing that we need to be careful of. We're launching more missiles from our ships now, not the MPAs, because the MPAs have to reload their missiles. You gotta remember that. They're not unlimited. So now we have to get somewhat close to launch these. And I suspect these are more cruisers possibly because they're off the Angolan coast. We have the Mexican Navy, the Canadian Navy, and the American Navy all moving in tandem right now. And moving up the front line gradually. Doesn't matter how slow as long as we keep moving forward. We have more missiles hitting, which is very good. And the Venezuelan officer is breaking south because we're going to have the Canadians go behind the main fleet and the Venezuelan Navy to go south to try and snuff out any ships that are possibly hiding there, and also to close off another route that they could possibly take. And it's also to intercept this contact. We're not sure what it is yet. Could be a ship, but it could be something else too. So we'll have to find out what it is. We eliminated another cruiser. That was a 5 stack of cruisers confirmed. And we're moving up our navy once more. Now we're getting into some heavy combat. We are engaging support units in Lobito and soon to be Luanda. And it seems like they're fighting back, and they are doing some sizable damage to us, which means they are multiple rocket launchers, more than likely. And also, they probably are because they have 100 range. That is going to pose a slight threat to our navy, but not terribly. But MRLs can do a serious amount of damage to ships. I believe they can do 5.5 each. So a 10 stack can do 55 damage to ships, which is almost close to what some 5 stacks of max level ships can do. We are now engaging a more sizable navy here potentially with our southern purple fleet, and we are moving them back, hitting and running. The Venezuelan officer is now engaging with anti-aircraft and also engaging the Namibian coastline. We are moving on to South Africa, and we are engaging the bulk of the South African Navy, which seems to be the most dangerous so far. Quick check of the news there to see what's going on with South Africa and some other nations. We have our subs moving on the outside to stay in the deep water and also to sort of flank the South African Navy so they cannot escape, so the range can cover their escape route, so we can keep hitting them as they're retreating, while the main Navy stays on the shallow water because they get no penalty there. I also launched more missiles, and it seems to be that it's another task force. We have a Namibian stack that is about to intercept one of our Canadian landing forces, and I'm going to send a bunch of missiles to try and defend it with all I've got. I'm going to fire all of my last warheads here to try and help that Canadian stack live, but will it be enough? We don't know. That is a 10 stack of 1 recon and 9 max level motorized infantry. It seems that Africa has gone for a very sizable land army. They had very high level theaters, and they have very high level artillery and other land troops, and I'm wondering why they didn't level up their navy that much. They had max level cruisers and submarines and all that stuff, but some nations didn't have very high level stuff. Like a couple nations had level 4 subs and a couple other things, so that's kind of where they're lacking right now, and our navy is just demolishing their forces. South Africa is taking heavy casualties right now to our missiles. And we just keep moving and keep pushing. Keep putting on aggression. Our missiles are now hitting here, this 4th Recon Division in Namibia. And we're going to do as much damage as we possibly can. The Mexican Navy is also on standby trying to move in to intercept and bombard. And all of our missiles have hit. And there's still a 5 stack of infantry there, which means it wasn't able to kill it fully. The Colombian officer here has gotten his hit in and is moving away, while the Canadian subs and the other Colombian forces move in to intercept. The South African Navy is, in a way, trapped right now between our main surface fleet We're now sending Ranger 1 to go after this infantry, and it's unfortunately, it might not be that this Canadian stack survives, because there's also artillery bombarding it, and we don't think that it's going to make it, sadly. But as quoted from Canada, casualties will happen. The South African Navy continues to get bombarded. The Colombian officer is moving in. Our main surface fleet is bombarding them, and I am moving my MPA forward. Now guys, that is all of the footage I got for this round. It was a victory, thank gosh. Our Navy proved to be vital in this battle, as almost all of the war was fought on the water. During the night, Colombia was able to get their helicopters in from the FOB, and we were able to wreak complete and utter havoc with those Apaches and those Blackhawks. And we were able to get the Canadian strike fighters in. We were able to get the air superiority fighters in. And we were able to get so much of our land forces in as well, our armor, our multiple rocket launchers. And while our Navy supported all the way, the land obviously won the battle because a Navy cannot fight inland. But eventually we were able to break through, and we were able to take the capital of South Africa. Now, the Navy was the most important aspect and will be in the next battle as well. I wanted to have our MPAs and AWACS as the eyes of the Navy. Like I said, I wanted to have a very versatile Navy. I wanted to have all aspects of the Navy covered. I wanted to have submarines. I wanted to have our destroyers for a strong surface vessel fleet, as well as ASW capabilities. I wanted to have the frigates, which is the most vital part, in my opinion, like one of the most vital parts of the Navy. And I had the cruisers for the HP and the damage output. And I also had the officers as well, and everything else that we needed, which worked out perfectly. Sadly, the South African team was a little bit spread out in their Navy, but they actually did put up a fierce resistance in the land front. So guys, I hope you enjoyed the second part of the video, and I hope that you continue to enjoy the World War N.I.C. series. The third part will be coming out soon, and I hope you all are enjoying it. Please subscribe and leave a like if you want to support the channel. It really helps me out. If you want to say something great in the comments about the video, you can say it. If you want to say something bad about the video, if you have a criticism you want to say, go for it. If you just want to say hi, you can do that too. Or if you have a question, you can leave that down in the comments as well. I read as many as I can. If you want to leave a thumbs down as well, you can always do that. The channel isn't perfect, and I know that there are things that can be corrected. So guys, I hope you have a beautiful day. I will catch you all later. Nick out.